Okay. Hey guys, we are back with another video. I'm Tracy.
I'm Ebony.
And here we are with TruE. Okay? It's been like, what, a week, 2 weeks since we last posted a video. It's been some time. But we're back to drop off some more nuggets, more knowledge. A lot of people really engaged with the money saving tips last time, so we will be bringing back a part 2. But today we're going to talk about something that we feel like is both a hot topic, and that is apartments.
Yes, get into renting apartments. So all you first time renters, this is a video for you.
For you. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of talk about like what we, like our experiences and kind of like what we suggest when looking for an apartment. And then, you know, after the video, of course, drop your questions down for us. Let us know what what you want to know when buying, and if it's anything that we can help you all with, we'll do that. But child, let us tell you about these apartments, okay? Because if I had somebody telling me the tea before I got my apartment, I wouldn't have been in an apartment, okay? So that's number one. So just to give a little background, Ebony moved back home for a little bit after she graduated from school, just a little bit. She could probably tell your story a little bit more. And then she came back, got an apartment, but like her time lapse was a little bit quicker than mine. I went home, stayed home for a year before I got my first apartment. So like, Ebony, what was your experience when you first moved in and all that kind of stuff?
Well, for me, it was kind of like quick.
Yeah.
Only because I got a job here. Then I was trying to find somewhere to live.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just like, I know I want this, but it got to be close enough to my job. That's basically what it was. So,
did you have a budget in mind, like when you were looking, or was it like, this is close, I'll pay whatever?
I kind of had a budget going in. Kinda-ish, yeah. I knew I didn't want to spend over a certain amount, because after looking and I see the price range, I knew what I was going to spend. Yeah. And so I kind of knew. Here I am now.
What is it now, like 2 years now? 2, 3?
2.5. 2.5 years here.
Yeah.
But I got some stuff for you.
So mine's a little bit different. I went home after graduating. I stayed there for a year, and then afterwards I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to move out into an apartment and place of my own. But in retrospect, which is probably what I'm gonna touch on, like as far as my tips goes, I could have stayed home a little bit longer. Like, what I love having my own place, don't get me wrong, but what I've learned about an apartment and like when it really starts to hit you is that you pay this rent and it never will be yours. So you're paying this bill every month, and apartments are not cheap by any means. Like if you can find a good 1-bedroom apartment with all the high finishes with stainless steel and all that kind of stuff for $1,000 nowadays, it's a scam. But that's all I can say, because ain't no way. You know, like as far as like, there's some good apartments out there that, you know, that don't have like the top of the line finishes that you could probably get under $1,000. But either way it goes, it's not going to be, you know, base level $850 or base level $750 for a 1-bedroom apartment nowadays. Like, they are up there. And whether you do have like a base cost of something, maybe like your apartment is $850, or they tell you the base price is $850 to $900, and your electricity, your Wi-Fi, your water, your sewage, your valet trash, all that stuff isn't included, you're topping over $1,000 easy. So I definitely can say, like, in retrospect, staying at home for maybe, I don't know, another 5-6 months, stacking paper up, and then maybe looking at a townhouse or a small condo to purchase, like, would have been a smarter investment than an apartment. But at the time, kind of like in your shoes, had a job, needed to get something a little bit closer because I was commuting pretty far at the time. So I only looked at one apartment, or 2 apartments really, and then the first one I looked at, I signed a lease on. So, yeah. But Ed, what's your first tip for the folks out here when they looking for an apartment?
All right, my first tip is don't get scammed. Nah.
No, but for real, don't.
Because low-key, I ain't gonna front. I low-key was scammed a little bit. Because, so I moved in. Mm-hmm. They told me a certain price. Mm-hmm. You know, that was my base price.
Find it on the dotted line.
So, the next year comes around. Mm-hmm. They asked me to renew my rent or whatever. You know, I'm thinking, okay, I'm about to sign for the same amount.
Yeah.
They said, you moved in on a special, so your rent will be going up to this price.
How much they push it up to? Like, range?
Like
100, 200?
It was about, it wasn't like a lot, but it was like $60 a month increase. So, I mean, it wasn't like a lot, but still like $60 each month. Like, yeah, when I'm used to paying a certain amount and then I have to pay more, It
adds up.
So, so that's what I would ask if you are moving in. See if you're moving on a special rate, because I didn't know that. And so whenever I renewed my rent went up because the promotion special was only for that year. So that's my tip. Just ask. That's
a good one, because same kind of boat that I'm in now. I didn't move in on any kind of special. They're just saying that the rates are going or increasing because, you know, the amenities around the area and the amenities they're trying to add on to the apartment. Mm-hmm. But my rate and my rent is increasing by $200. So I signed on, you know, like say you signed on for $1,000 and your rent was $1,000 the entire year, and then the next year it's time for you to sign back. They like, it's now $1,200. So it's quite up there, and that's going to go into my tip of don't feel pressured to sign a lease or re-sign with your apartment, even though maybe it took you a little while to move in, or even though like you feel like you need to have a place. It is okay once your rent or once your apartment lease is up to start looking for other places to stay that fit within your price range. And within that, like, once you've stayed in an apartment, you kind of like understand that the things that you can and cannot go without. Prior to moving in my apartment, I was like, I cannot go without having hardwood floors. I cannot go without having stainless steel appliances. And now that I've been there for a little bit of time, I can go without those things. So listen, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I'll be like in the upper echelon. But now, like, having to pay for it, and it goes to that first thing that I said, like, it's never really yours. As long as you can find something that is nice, like, you know, livable. I'm not saying go live in a hole in the wall if you don't have to, but as long as it's livable, those amenities like having, you know, stainless steel appliances and carpeted floors, like, they're not going to matter in like the grand scheme of things because it's never really yours anyway. So within that, like, that's, I guess, my first and second tip. Be okay with not having like the best amenities in the world when you're first like looking for an apartment out of school. And secondly, if your apartment complex is, you know, acting crazy, or the rates are increasing, or they're just throwing in a lot of hidden fees and hidden things everywhere, go ahead and move out. And one thing that I don't think a lot of people know right now is during the time that we're living in, a lot of apartments have made it very easy for you to break your lease. So I would check, you know, even if you're like, dang, like, I could be putting this $1,000 to $1,500, however much you're paying for your 1-bedroom apartment, to the side for something bigger, you know, especially being that we're working from home or whatever. I can move with my parents, or I can move with a friend or a sibling. Do that. And I would also check with your apartment to see, like, hey, I want to break my lease. What would that consist of? Because you might be surprised. Some people are only making you pay like 1 month's rent in advance, when it used to be like 3 or 4 months rent out. You had to pay like all of that up, which was ridiculous.
Crazy.
But,
yeah. Good advice.
Like, girl.
Alright, so another tip I have is, I would say try to ask, mine are all like ask questions, but ask about the people who live in your community, like their age, like the age of your community, because like with me, I feel like a lot of families live here, and so that's why I'm always complaining about there's somebody above me that keeps running around, and it's probably a kid or something. And so I would ask that because actually everybody around me has a child. So it's just noisy.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah, it just makes a difference. So if you move it into a community and it's a lot of college kids, be prepared for the parties. If you move into a community with kids, be prepared for the noise. But I mean, if you move into a community with single people or older people, I'm pretty sure that it's not gonna be as noisy or
busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my tip.
I like that one.
Tip.
That's a good one. That's a good one. What I feel like you'll find in any apartment, like just in general, is that the walls are very thin. I've never seen any kind of review on anything that I've read when it comes down to apartment shopping. And I've looked like in the city we're currently in. I've looked like, oh, if I were to ever move to this city or that city, like let me look what apartments they got out there. The walls are very thin. So that's a big one as far as like seeing what type of people, because you're going to be hearing them, you know, nonetheless. So do you want to hear the college kid or the family? Or
the family, because I hear them every morning. That's who wakes me up, is the people around me.
Somebody else, child. That's crazy. That's
like
crazy.
Somebody else.
Our final tip is more so on the lines of like community, but I would also like ask someone who's living in that community during that time, if you see them walking out like on your tour, or if you swing by like, hey, let me just go look at the traffic or look what type of people are walking around the community. You know, we're living in different climates right now, so I would say like pull up with your mask on and be like, hey, like how do you like this, you know, apartment complex? Like what are the things that you see? What are the things that you would change? Like most people, especially where we live at, like we live in the South, pretty much everybody's like pretty cordial. I ain't never came across nobody that was like, girl, get out my face or anything like that when it came down to asking questions. Most people will, you know, tell you like walls is thin, they change policies, the trash be piling up, or they'll tell you like quite the opposite, like I really enjoy living here, the reasons why I like living here is this, that, and the third. And I say do that with someone who's just living in the community, because they're not getting paid to put any kind of promo. Like when you go through the leasing office and, you know, the people, the community managers and leasing specialists be giving you tours, they gonna make the apartment sound like it's the best thing in the world, because that's what they're paid to do. So if you ever get an opportunity just to catch, you know, Joe Schmo walk in his dog or her dog, you know, and say like, hey, like how do you like it? I guarantee you it'll give you some good perspective of what it's like living there. And it might not be like the end all be all perspective. You might get there and decide like, I don't like this place at all, you know, but at least you have some good insight going into it.
Yeah.
Those are my 3 tips.
Because I know whenever I first moved in here, like my dad asked the people that worked there, it was like, how many of y'all live here?
Oh, true.
Because that's a good impression. Like how many of y'all actually live in this apartment? But the girl that was helping us, she did actually live here.
Live there. Yeah.
So
and you'll find that a lot because they get discounts and stuff like that. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily a red flag if they don't live at their apartment complex, because at the end of the day, like if you working at somewhere but you can get a bigger bang for your buck somewhere else, like that might constitute you not wanting to live there. But that is a big one. Yeah. If y'all in the leasing office and everybody's sitting around like, no.
Right. Well, I guess my final tip would be, well, this is kind of a tip, kind of personal, but I guess it can apply to somebody else.
Yeah, it might help somebody.
I say get an apartment with the amenities are included.
Okay.
Because I just feel like it's better and easier. Instead of having to pay a bill here, you can just pay one bill. Like right now, the only separate bill that I pay is for electricity. everything else. So my Wi-Fi, water, and then my actual rent is all paid together.
That's a big one.
So that would be my final tip.
Yeah, that's a big one too, because whereas all her stuff is included, all of my stuff is not included. So I have base rent, and then I have to pay someone for Wi-Fi / cable. I have to pay somebody else for electricities. Then I have to pay a separate bill to my apartment complex for like water, trash pickup, etc. Like, it's like little bitty bills here, there, and the third, where, like she said, if you find a place where it's pretty much all included, you're good to go. So those are our tips for today. You know, hopefully it helps somebody out there. Feel free to ask us questions. This is a topic like we really enjoy talking about, though. So we might do a part 2 all rip. Maybe like tell y'all our worst story or something like that. Because apartment living is crazy for real.
It is. It is. But it's crazy. But hey, we gonna get through it.
Yeah, we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right.
But all right.
That's all for today. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and share.
All 4
times. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.